Season 9 is the last of Friendship is Magic, and I know a lot of you are feeling very sad about that, but let's look forward to a major positive. This season could be the biggest that this show has ever done, because they have an excuse to throw quite literally anything at us, and we will lap it up. There have been no leaks, there have been no spoilers, everything that we are going to see is going to be unexpected. Well, apart from the one thing they revealed in the announcement trailer. Yeah, that was a bit of a dick move, wasn't it? The fact is, I am now ready to step into the Wishlist fountain and hopefully come out looking a lot younger than I do at this moment in time. Because if these predictions are correct, I'm going to have a very, very, very good season indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the return of Pones N Stuff with a Season 9 Wishlist special. Before I get to my main 5 predictions, I have 4 that I wanted to put amongst them, but I feel just aren't as important, or they're more likely to happen, therefore they're not going to be as outlandish or interesting to all of you. The first one being that an LGBT pony will appear in the show, whether they're new or old, it doesn't really matter. It's something that I really would have expected this show to have done by now. Secondly, Starlight becoming an alicorn, that's pretty much guaranteed. I have no other way of expecting how this show is going to end apart from that, so I might as well throw it out there as a prediction, but of a lesser category. Starlight's village being the centre of an episode plot, because seriously, the fact this hasn't happened yet after a while is impressive. And finally, the Student 6 venturing out of Ponyville for something. Yeah, I'd like to see this, and I think a lot of you are expecting it, so there we go. It's an honourable mention and not one of the big guns. Speaking of which, let's get on to the main attractions that I think will make Season 9 well worth my time. My first prediction encompasses the subject of death. Yes, something a TVY program such as this will never go into much detail on out of fear of scaring and terrifying the kiddos. Well, let me tell you something, kiddos out there. It's gonna happen, and I'd like your sensitivities to politely go fuck themselves. I'm sorry that I'm swearing in a video like this, but I am passionate to see things go down and happen in a way that'll make me smile. The thing is, we've only had death highlighted to us 3 times in this series run, which includes the funeral in The Perfect Stallion and Hearts and Hooves Day, and if you don't believe me, an image is appearing on screen right now highlighting that point, just in case you've forgotten it. Secondly, the whole thing surrounding Tanks for the Memories, which was an allegory for death rather than an actual death itself, and of course, the Storm King. Now, of course, we don't know whether he actually died at the end of the movie, because basically what's happening with Sombra, spoiler alert, is quite a death knell to that potential. So, yeah, just gonna point that out there. This show has not really looked at death in a way that is a good, positive thing, especially when it comes to character development. So here's what I'm going to put out there as the most outlandish prediction for the whole season. I want to see a major character death. Now, this could be either in a flashback or in reality in an episode, whether it's a premiere, finale, or something in between. I want to see this show that, well, the audience has matured. Those little kids that started off with Season 1 are now old enough to tackle something like that. Because seriously, doing it with a pet is nothing like losing a relative, and those who have lost relatives will really attest to that. And the thing is, I really think there's a lot of potential for this. You have Granny Smith dying, allowing Applejack to take over Sweet Apple Acres. I have said that for 5 goddamn years, and the fact it hasn't happened yet still frustrates me to hell and back. Secondly, well, I've mentioned this many a time, if you're going to have a character die in the finale to sacrifice themselves for friendship, there is an opportunity that would present itself. I mean, you could fake the death and have it be a Deus Ex Machina somehow, but then again, that would technically count as a character death. It may not be permanent, but I'd at least be happy with it. And of course, well, you could also show how the Apple parents, Bright Mac and Pear Butter, died, and I would be perfectly happy with that. There are 3 reasons there, and there's a lot of other things you could do too, but I know this is so outlandish and ridiculous that it probably won't happen. Like I said, this is a TV Y-rated program. There is no way in hell they're going to take a subject like this and take it goddamn seriously. But if you're going to end this show on a dramatic emotive high, you might as well throw everything into the pram and roll it down the stairs a la Battleship Potemkin. You might as well, because you're never going to get another chance. And you might as well make the biggest splash as you leave the building. So there we go. A major character death is number one, and if that is the number one thing I want to see, then what the hell are the rest gonna be? Well, you're about to find out. They're not as impressive, but well, at least I'm starting off with something quite foreboding indeed. My second and third predictions can be put together quite easily, and there is a fantastical reason as to why. They both focus on Discord and his reformation, the first of which being that his reformation should be completed, hopefully by the end of this season, and second of all, one of the possible ways of doing that is finally, by God, finally, having an episode where Celestia and Discord are the main characters. Now this is something that, combined together, could be the greatest thing this show has ever done, if executed with enough charm, whimsy, and freedom. Honestly, it could be fantastic. Now think about it this way, Discord has been a character who is so up and down in terms of how he deals with friendship that we haven't really seen him finalise the arc at all. He's still snarky, he's still in your face, he's still a bit of a dick, but at the same time, he's understanding and learning. So I'd love to see Celestia be the one to offer him a test, to say, hey, you say you've learned all you can about friendship, let's throw the bloody book at you. And of course, if it's under Twilight's stewardship as well, oh boy, there could be some real fireworks. But at the end of the day, as long as Discord's reformation is completed and that character arc has had its book turned its last page and shut, this will be a great thing. And honestly, if it manages to happen with Celestia and Discord sharing an episode together, highlighting the history that they have had in a comical and dramatic way, I will be really, really happy. You can see why I've kind of put these two together, because they could work in each other's favour, meaning I get something really, really fun out of it. Plus, it means that this show is going to be ending throwing pretty much anything at our faces and saying, look, we didn't have the freedom to pull this stuff off before, now we can, and it's going to make you all smile. This is one way you can do it, and it'll make me so happy. If you kill two birds with one stone, or do one, then the other at another point, I'll be even more overjoyed than I honestly would be just knowing they're existing in the first place. My next prediction concerns one Rainbow Dash. Now I know a lot of you are thinking this is suicide, Fred. You don't like the character, why are you predicting something for her? Remember, I view her more positively than negatively after the events of Parental Guidance. If you don't remember that, go look at the comments section of that countdown where I kind of made that apparent. The fact of the matter is that she has more potential for character growth in this final season than every one of the main six does. Because Twilight is probably going to make Starlight and Alicorn and just be the mentor of the student Sipt or something, and that's pretty much it. Seriously, Fluttershy doesn't have anywhere to go outside of potentially venturing further into the animal caregiving side of things, but we don't really need to see more of it. Rarity can take over a shop in Canterlot, and that's pretty much it for her. Applejack is background pony and obstructed by the glass ceiling, as I've already noted. And Pinky is just Pinky. She has not really had any major personality growth outside of Maud from the beginning, so you can kind of see where I fall in with that one. As far as Rainbow goes, I can see her journey in the Wonderbolts going one step further, because I am predicting that Spitfire will retire and Rainbow will take control of the Wonderbolts permanently. Now you may be thinking, well, she has second in commands, doesn't she? Like Soren and the others. Well, they're not main characters. To put it bluntly, they're not main characters, which means they can get away with this and it won't be a major problem. You'd think. So the fact of the matter is that, yeah, Spitfire's not really a well-liked character, she's a bit of a meanie at times, but she does care for her squadron, and say if something takes her out of the picture, she then has to put Rainbow Dash in charge to show off her leadership skills, and then eventually, after realising through hell or high water that she's cut out for this, knowing her element of loyalty, Spitfire will then retire and say, look Rainbow, or Crash in this case, you're good enough to lead this squadron. And it basically says, okay, from season 1 where you desired to be in the Wonderbolts but could barely even muster a chance to be near them, to then leading the bastards in season 9, that is some great growth. And the fact, on top of the fact she could also adopt Scootaloo, but that's a prediction I'm going to leave well enough alone because I'm not entirely certain it's possible. Anything can, but that's one where I'm thinking, maybe not. In the broader scheme of things, for Rainbow to grow and officially finish her character arc, this is the one way to do it. And if they pull this off with just enough weight and enough hilarity side by side and not make it so serious like Newbie Dash was, or even dare I say the washouts, it could be a very good episode to have. That being said, Rainbow could, like I said, just, well, be around and not really do much and just have 1 or 2 episodes dedicated to her character, but not really grow from it. But this is one way to ensure that her story ends on the biggest high imaginable, knowing that, while confident, she started on the lowest rung 9 years ago. I'm feeling rather confident about this one, but I'm pretty sure something could throw me a curveball and make this one irrelevant. Who knows? Anything is possible, especially when it comes to my last prediction. And it's one that I feel will surprise quite a few of you. Now, think about the fact that I've already put Rainbow Dash, a character who I have a checkered history with, in a prediction slot. I'm going to do that with one more character who, arguably, is not as hated over time, but is one that I know has irked me more than it honestly should have. Garble. That's right, a one-note hate sink who has returned 3 times, despite Spike only to be, in almost all occasions, be left flat on his ass, is a notable statement of intent by me to do something a bit out of the box. Now, here's the thing. The dragons as a species are genetically meant to be assholes. That's the whole interpretation of them, aren't they? That they are strong, they are intense, and they are intimidating, making them not the best when it comes to friendship. But of course, knowing what Ember has had to do in terms of liaising with other species and what Smolder and Spike have learnt being around Pones, they will have some impact on the whole species, meaning a person like Garble, who is so full of himself, so intent on not really doing that with anybody, will want to lash out. Remember, he's noted by law from the Dragon Lord to hug everyone he meets. Please remember that that's a thing, so he would want to fight back and show that the dragon DNA of old is resilient and has one flickering, ember, see what I did there, left to put itself out. And what would he want to do? Terrorize a apparently weaker or smaller nation, because I am predicting that Garble in one episode, if he is showcased, will invade the Changeling Hive. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, that's a stupid idea, because after what happened with Pharynx a season or 2 ago, there is no way that is going to happen. But that's where you guys are partially wrong for thinking so, because I want to see Garble do it, only to realise that while the changelings may appear weak and docile on the outside, they now, thanks to Pharynx, have the ability to defend themselves. They're not weak. Garble, leading maybe 1 dragon or 2 with him, or maybe just him on his own, ready to establish honour again, realises he's cut out more than he's meant to, and he's stuck in a diplomatic crisis that Spike, Ember, Thorax, and Smolder, and anyone else who dare involve will try to, well, dissolve the situation. And it's a great moral message of how bullying culture is very bad. It's something I'm surprised this show's not done yet. That is a perfect foil for that. Not to mention, you also have a whole episode taking down toxic masculinity. Given that it's something this show has never done either, would be amazing. Now, do you see where I'm coming from here? There is a chance to not necessarily reform Garble, but to more or less give him a different insight. The insight into why Spike, Smolder, and Ember have embraced friendship, or at least are trying to the one lone entity who doesn't want to conform. Sure, you could say this is a repeat of the Pharynx episode, but when you take a different social political twist into it and make it all about how, well, society will change, but you've got to understand that it's up to you to make those decisions. And not to mention that bullying will only make you look bad, because we're trying to establish that dragons are actually good and actually have a good purpose around the world, whilst all you're doing is reinforcing a stereotype, because that's one thing the world doesn't want. More stereotypes being enforced on everybody, because people think ponies are weak and then they can still hit you with magic and kill you. So logically there's a lot of problems there that Garble may run into. So here's the thing. I don't want Garble to be reformed, but I do want him to be at the forefront of an episode and just make worth of his time, because he, outside of Gauntlet of Fire, has made himself out to be not the most threatening character in the world, so I want to see him, the one lone hate sink with actual potential, to do something about it. And if he does, I will be the happiest, because even though I don't like him as a character, if they are able to turn that leaf and show us what he is capable of in a bigger setting, it could be fantastic. And with that, my prediction book is officially shut. I hope you are all intrigued by the 5 big ones and the 4 smaller ones that I'm going to be looking out for over the course of the next season. What are yours? Put them down in the comment section, and I cannot wait to read through them and discuss whether they actually have a chance. And of course, if you do not want to miss any Pones N Stuff episodes or any MLP content at all on this channel, then click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell to ensure nothing goes past your sub box. I have been Freddie Thomas, you've been people watching, this has been the CC Network, and I will see you all next time.